Welcome back to The Chosen Life. I'm your host, The Chosen Lawyer. And today we're going to do it a little different. It's not going to be quite The Chosen Life. It's a new show, similar to Chosen Life, but it's a special episode. We're going to call it Jonathan and Jonathan on Style. My good friend, Jonathan Orlando, Realtor to the Stars, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So first question, which I kind of cleared up this morning as we were kind of planning the episode together, but so Jonathan Orlando, no relation to Tony Orlando?
No, absolutely not. If I did, I wouldn't be a realtor. Wouldn't have to be.
Have you ever met Tony Orlando?
No, I haven't. Is he dead?
I'm not sure, to be quite frank. And I knew he's a big star.
Yeah.
But, I never actually researched Tony Orlando until this morning. Turns out, tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree is Tony Orlando.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, I will one-up you on that because there is that new pop star, like the new Justin Bieber from Toronto, his Johnny Orlando. Yeah, he's from Vaughan, but again, no relation. I'm out of luck when it comes to the Orlando family tree. Mine weren't as successful as the others were, unfortunately.
So you're not Johnny Orlando from Vaughan?
I am Johnny Orlando from East York. Yeah.
Johnny Orlando from East York.
Exactly.
Well,
the original.
So now you and I, we met, I would guess, about 7 years ago, give or take.
Give or take, yeah.
And working downtown, and I used to come to your real estate office at the time.
Exactly, yeah.
Blue Elephant.
Yeah.
R.I.P. It still lives on in our hearts.
It does, yeah.
And I meet you, and right away we bonded.
Yeah.
And first of all, over the name Jonathan, because
100%.
It's a common name somewhat, but not the way we spell it, because we spell it the traditional Jonathan.
Yeah,
Jonathan. Not Jonathan.
No.
And not Jonathan.
Yeah, which is weird. And they always say Jonathan, so I've never heard anyone pronounce it differently. So it makes no sense to me why it'd be spelled differently.
So they claim to be Jonathan, but yet they don't spell it that way.
Not Jonathan.
So you and I meet, and we're like, I'm looking at you, and I'm like, this is like a better looking younger brother of mine. Like, right. I was like so impressed because like we both have the Jonathan. Even today, as we came for this episode, we like had role reversal completely, changing places.
Yeah.
Because this is typically how you would have dressed. You're dressing exactly how I would have dressed.
Right.
Black t-shirt and the blue jeans. And as I was telling you, I put a special ensemble together for you.
Well, I appreciate it. It didn't go unnoticed.
You got to put the effort in.
You do.
But usually now, you're a stylish guy. Like, first of all, you set the bar very high on Instagram, and we're going to talk about that. And people will have the link to your Instas. There's a personal one, there's a professional one.
Yes.
But when I start an outfit, I start from the bottom up usually. I pick my kicks and work my way. For you, I wanted to wear this shirt so badly. So no Chosen Lawyer shirt. We're going style. We got John Barbados going.
Yeah.
Just pick this baby up. And to pick the right belt and the right shoes to match this color was hell. But half an hour later, we had an outfit together.
Well, it's funny because I usually do the opposite. And I did the opposite today. I went feet up, but usually I'm shirt down.
Now, why would you pick feet up?
Well, because I just know you are the kicks god of Toronto. You have the biggest shoe. You're like the Imelda Marcos of lawyer shoes.
I wish. No, she had a little bit of a diverse collection. Mine is Jordan 1s, high OGs.
So like a modern day Imelda Marcos.
I would like to think so. The same way we were talking about when we put this set together. You are the second guest ever on our new set. Our talk show set.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And when we put this set together, it was not a traditional podcast set. We were going for a talk show set.
Right. And
I was telling the videographer, producer, we're going to go for the Ellen set. This is what we're going for. And what did you say when I told you about that?
What, that you're like the male version of Ellen, or the lawyer version of Ellen, or the Jewish version of Ellen?
Made the Juba version.
Well, there you go.
But, Ellen was very popular in her day. She's gone off to do other things.
Well, she's also canceled.
Well, we won't get into that. We're going to cancel the society right now.
I know, I hate it. But yeah.
So we're going to do our best not to get canceled in this episode. But that being said, there is a void.
Yeah.
And those Ellen fans, those people in need of talk show festivities in life, we're going to be giving it to them today.
But can I say, like, I like this podcast talk show element a lot better. It's way more candid, a lot more less scripted. And, you get to really know the guests a lot better. There's not they don't have to fit into a peg to appease an audience. It's very like, this is what I have to say versus, keep it lighthearted and whatnot.
Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret then. This is the first episode of all the Chosen Lives. I don't have the laptop. I don't have a script. I'm freestyling it today. I knew in my head what I wanted to talk about, but I love Jonathan Orlando so much that I said, man, we're just going to go for it. And I know where we're going to go with it. And we're going to let nature just follow its
Well,
course.
when I asked you about what we're going to be talking about, I
Yes.
was kind of nervous when you said we're going to free fall. But I said, no, I think we have great banter and, I'm better off on the fly anyway. So
let's everybody pull up a chair right now. They're hanging out with us
Yes.
on the couches. And what we're talking about today is lifestyle,
Mhm.
style, and finding your route.
Right.
Now, I've spoken to you so many times, Jonathan, got to know you over the years, but yet I don't know the story of how Jonathan became Jonathan.
Right.
So starting off everything, before becoming a realtor success, finding your path,
Right.
growing up, what was that like for you in East York?
Well, I'm a Toronto native. I grew up in this city. I love this city. I was raised, my mom's Filipino, my dad's Italian. So being biracial was, had its challenges. And then being gay was a double whammy of my life. But, I think all of those things and the adversities I've had to overcome just to be myself have prepared me for life in a lot of ways, in business, socially, because, nothing's come easy in that sense.
Well, two of the questions I was going to ask you, and we're going to jump into one of them now.
Yeah.
Before we get into the business side, because, business, we like to leave it for the end,
Yeah.
but I want to know the person behind the person.
100%.
So, as I was mentioning, you got two Instagram accounts. You got
Yes.
your personal one, you got your real estate professional one.
Right.
It's very evident in both of them who you are.
Right.
You put yourself out there. There's no holding back. I want to wear booty shorts today. I'm wearing booty shorts
Right.
today. I'm jumping in the Jeep. I'm jumping in the Jeep. I'm going in the water. Here's my friends. Everything goes.
Right.
Knowing your personality and who you are, it's funny. You mentioned to me earlier when we were talking off camera that you saw yourself as shy, or maybe growing up as shy. I know I saw myself.
Right.
So starting off, first of all, when did you discover your personality? Like, when did you know and feel comfortable in your own skin of who you were?
That's a good question. I think, obviously being in the closet a lot of my life, or when I was younger, I should say, you kind of fit the mold of trying to fit in and not draw any attention to yourself. I don't know if you know this about me, funny enough. I used to be on TV in the Philippines. I had a little stint there where I dropped out of school and I said, I'm going to do this. And I think throwing yourself on a show that's watched by millions of people with absolutely no talent, you kind of realize you have nothing to lose, because I survived that. Whether I was good or not, I mean, that's not the point, but I did it and I'm still alive. And I think when I had that experience and realizing that the worst is behind me, and I'm still here, you kind of get more comfortable with yourself, right? I mean, it did suck. I did do that while still in the closet, and I just didn't think coming out on national TV without having that conversation with my family, whether they knew or not, was the right thing at the time. But, having had that experience, I've realized that nothing can hurt me.
So how old were you roughly at this point?
I was like 19 at the time. when I did
19.
that. Yeah.
So I'm a Jubu from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Right.
Don't know where you expect me to possibly find Filipino TV. Know of any Filipino channels. I have no Filipino background. I don't speak the language. I know Jollibee.
Well-
Apparently, they have great hamburgers and pasta,
Yeah,
world
they do.
renowned.
They do, yeah.
But that's the extent of my Filipino knowledge,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That's
But I'm willing to learn.
Well, you also probably know a few housekeepers here and there too.
Well, we won't go there. Again, cancellation culture. We're not
I
going
can
there.
say it, you can't.
Absolutely. So, as part of the show you were on, so you were in Toronto, you went back to the Philippines to
I was
shoot it?
in Manila, yeah. I was living in Manila.
Okay. Now, did you formally come out on the show, or
No.
what was the premise of the show?
Oh God! So the show, I'll send you the link after. some stuff. It was kind of like a triple threat search. So think American Idol, but Big Brother-esque. So we were together, there's 16 of us in a competition.
Yes.
I was third out, just for the record. But the thing was
Not third place, third out.
third out, yeah.
Okay.
But for the
Haters.
record, I have no background in training in any of the arts, like in that way. And 20,000 people auditioned for the show, for the record. So, just being on it was a big achievement, and having access to the things that I did. It's very funny. Like, I talked to my mom about it. We're not from much back there, and she doesn't really have the fondest memories of growing up there. And, I went there and I made that happen with, little to no connections. And like I said, it was a fun experience. I don't regret it at all. Still friends with a lot of my castmates from my show.
What was the name of the show?
Brother Artista Academy. Please no one Google that. But
Oh, we're posting links in the bio. Don't you worry, my friend. We're gonna be all over this. So you're 19.
Yeah.
American Idol meets Big Brother meets
it was like
like Survivor.
It was no. Well, I mean, mentally and emotionally, sure,
Yes.
but not the premise of the show. It was a talent search, essentially looking for the next big superstars. There was a male and female winner.
Yes.
I also had the largest cash prize in Filipino history, which they didn't pay out.
How much was it, like $100?
It was like it was like $100. No, it was 10 million pesos, which I think roughly, give or take, we'll call it $250,000. But it wasn't
ever paid out.
ever paid out fully. But it was like there was a condo involved with that, a car which we found out was used.
Hey, you take what you can get.
I'm not saying, hey, I
Yes.
would have taken it, but I'm just saying. But yeah, no, it was weird. And I auditioned for it, found out I could carry a tune and all that stuff. You know, obviously I can speak Filipino or Tagalog pretty good, but like, you know, when you're, especially back there, it's a lot different. There's a lot more slang and stuff. So I had to keep constantly adjusting to that.
And, you know, picturing you growing up, like I didn't know you. I know you. I only know you from today. I know that confident guy, open guy, you know, fun-loving guy. I didn't know what your childhood was like. I always figured this is a guy that probably went to band camp, probably was the lead singer, you know, and yet you're telling me, really growing up, you were in the closet. You didn't come out till later, which is a surprise to me.
Well, later in the sense, I think to family and stuff, I would
Yes.
say like fully out. But like obviously I had great friends that knew from a younger age.
At what age did you know? Like, did you really know? You feel?
Oh, I feel like, you know what? When people ask that, I feel like when I look back on that,
Yes.
it's I didn't know what I was feeling then, right? So
Right.
to pinpoint it, I wouldn't say that it was anything about knowing at a certain age. I think it was coming to the age of realization and understanding what these feelings were. So I would have to say, obviously, you know, like probably 12, 13, when everyone else kind of figures out sexuality in itself or has any feeling about it. But, you know, obviously looking back on it, it's definitely much younger. But just understanding it, I definitely say probably around 13. But I had a lot of girlfriends, okay?
And if you look at your Instagram, the girls
But I mean,
love
like
you.
actual girlfriends,
Yes.
and for years at a time. So, and I don't want to discredit them at all in any way because it had nothing to do with them. Like I ran into one of my exes at a club. I was talking to my partner about this. I would say maybe like 4 years ago, and I almost went home with her. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a spectrum still at the end of the day as well.
What I love about sexuality in this day and age, for so many, it's fluid. There is,
It is, yeah.
and the whole idea LGBTQ, like the whole thing is that, you know, you can put a label if you like, but it
You don't have
evolves.
to,
But
yeah.
it evolves. You know, it's what you're feeling in the moment. It can evolve, and not having to feel the constraint. But part of being here today, and I love, you know, that you share your story, you inspire others. I can't tell you how many times, Johnny, I've seen growing up, even in the year 2022, people, and you look into their eyes, you know that they're in the closet. You know that they are trapped. They're not enjoying what they're doing, but they feel this need. Usually, it's from family side,
100%
and society pressures, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And how many times when people have actually come out, and then, you know, I've spoken to parents of open children, and they said, I knew, I didn't want to say anything. I figured they would come on their own time, but it's a chicken and egg thing.
Right.
If they had shown more support earlier on,
exactly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, like, you know what? Perfectly being honest, like even with, like, I'm very close with my mom, and I don't think there's anything more she could have necessarily done. But also, maybe when I think about it, yeah, maybe it was that line of disciplinary and child, and maybe if it was more of a friendlier relationship, maybe I would have felt more comfortable at a younger age. But there's still that disciplinary disappointment aspect of it, I think, that negated me from doing that at a younger age.
And it blows my mind that somebody can birth a child, bring them into this earth, they find their path, and then they'll say, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with you. This is not my child. And it's like people not understanding that whole thing. They say, oh, who influenced you? Why are you doing this? People don't understand how you're born, how you feel, and allowing the child to progress that way. And people that can disown their own children because of their choice of their orientation is a really, really sad reality, but it's still there.
It happens all the time. And, you know, no matter how far we go, you know, obviously it is getting better. I think as every generation progresses, it is getting better in terms of providing a safe space for different people in any capacity. But, you know, it's that same nature versus nurture argument, right?
Yeah.
I'm always going to go over the nature side, but I don't have any scientific proof, and neither do you. So
I've come to people and I've told them, look, let's say whatever your background, if you're Italian, you're Portuguese, Russian, whatever it is, and you don't like somebody because of their sexual orientation, how would you feel if somebody didn't like you because of your choice of religion or your choice of ethnicity? If you don't like that, guess what? You're doing the exact same thing. and we're allowing the stereotypes and the hatred to continue. And there's so much hardness in this world. I wish people would just let go of that.
Yeah.
And let
Well, I
people
mean,
be.
that's also just that's a very universal puzzle piece, right? And my thing is, like, I'm tired of this rhetoric of you're wrong. I'm tired of everyone telling someone they're wrong. Even if you disagree with them, it doesn't make them wrong. Same with political views, religions, and it's someone's truth, right? And to discredit and say it's wrong, yes, obviously there's facts, but it's really, what do you believe in, right? And who's to say, I could tell you, you could be raised your whole life and been told the color green is blue, but everyone else thinks it's blue. Like, it's not. That's just subjective. My thing is, as long as your beliefs do not hurt anybody or have any ill intent towards anyone or a group of people, then let that be that, right? And I'm just tired. I really wish we would listen to each other a lot more now and come from a place of understanding more so. Because I'm tired of this right and wrong argument. We see it every day. PC versus liberal. You see it religion versus religion. Like, it's constant. But why not listen? Everyone's like, oh, well, he's like this, but he's different because, well, why does that matter?
If you really put it down to it and you take the labels across, they're all the same.
We're all just people.
Right. So from a marketing standpoint, I want to ask you as a professional, because we're going to kind of tie it in together right now for a moment. But you're a realtor. You've been a realtor for many years. You've been in different brokerages. You found your footing. You're now at Forest Hill, correct?
Yes.
And top realtor, present a very strong professional image. But let me ask you from a marketing standpoint, because I've had professionals that have come to me many times and said like this: on social media, everything you do, I want you to be as generic apple pie as you can be.
Right.
Nothing controversial. Nobody wants to see anything about your religion. Nobody wants to see anything about your orientation. You got to keep it as standard as you can.
Right.
And you made a decision, and I'm guessing very early on, that you're going to embrace who you are. You're open to the public that way and people to see who you are. Was there a decision at any point, though? Am I going to offend people by what I put out there? Am I going to lose clients this way? Was there any kind of reasoning?
Listen, even on my own personal stuff, which I've made private, but I mean, it still has a relatively larger following than most. And I make the constant decision. I have a really crude sense of humor. And you know what? If you don't like it, then unfollow, because, it's like business. When I first started in real estate, I was pretty new when I met you, actually. You try to appease everybody because you don't have your niche yet. And when I found out who I was, which also translated into real estate, if my content or the way I do business, like, I'm never going to be in a full suit showing places. That's just not me. Some people expect that. Well, then I realized just wasn't the realtor for that person. So why waste my time and my energy to coerce these kind of people that have no interest in working with me anyways? And quite frankly, I don't either. Right. But it takes time. I think that's the thing, to understand yourself. And then when you put you in your business, then that's when it starts to actually take off.
I love that. You made me think now of a story, actually. I remember once meeting a new client at my office. Remember back when people actually met in person? That was a thing?
Yeah.
Like, we're in person right now.
Yeah.
We're not doing this virtually. No. You're actually right there. I could touch you if I wanted to. But seriously, in a lot of day and age now, especially as lawyers, other professionals, we're meeting virtually over Zoom.
Right.
But this is a day when we're actually meeting in person. A person comes, meets me for the first time, coming to my office.
Right.
It was Mr. Cohen. It's nice to meet you. I said, nice to meet you as well.
Right.
He goes to me, you're kind of laid back as a lawyer, don't you think? And I said, why is that?
Yeah.
Imagine, Johnny, I'm dressed exactly the way you are right now, but I have a sport coat on. Everything else is exact. He says to me, like, jeans as a lawyer? I said, they're fitted. They're stylish. Everything is performed to me.
Right.
He goes, yeah, but I kind of expect a suit. I said, I'm wearing a sport coat.
Right.
And he said, yeah, but a t-shirt as a lawyer? I rolled down my sleeve. I was wearing a watch. I go, is that casual enough for you? He looks at my watch. He goes to me, I'm sorry, you're right.
But you know what?
It's so sad.
But it's so what you're wearing. I probably feel my best in athleisure. And if I feel my best, guess what? I perform my best. Right? So why wouldn't you want someone to optimize on the things that externally make them feel good internally? Then therefore you're giving them the best version of yourself. Right? I don't feel comfortable in suits.
Neither do I. I do when I have to. But if you give me a choice,
you have to. But if you're operating your business, like I said, you are your business. So if you're not feeling your best, you're probably not doing your best.
So I subconsciously created for myself what I call my uniform.
Right.
I love wearing jeans. So I got a whole thing of just jeans. I like the MCM belts. I got all
Mhm.
these MCM belts. I like t-shirts, all these t-shirts, occasional sports coats. And they're all the exact same from the same manufacturer, just different colors.
Exactly.
I picked the uniform. And that's why I tell people very often, pick the uniform that you like. If you're like
Right.
exactly like you said, if you feel comfortable in what you're wearing, you're gonna show the best you. You're gonna be the most authentic self, and
Right.
people will be drawn to you.
Well, also your fashion's an expression of who you are. So you're also, saying your message without saying anything sometimes too, right?
Let's talk about marketing. Like we talked about how we put our outfits together, right?
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
You picked your kicks today, your sneakers, because you knew I'm a kick guy.
Exactly.
Obviously, what I was doing worked because
Yes.
people know all of a sudden the Jordan 1 lawyer. I've
Exactly.
literally been in the mall and people saw me and they're like, hey, you're the Jordan lawyer guy, right?
Yeah.
People know me as the yoga lawyer guy, sometimes the bodybuilding lawyer guy,
Yeah.
the kick lawyer guy. But for myself as marketing, I put out the things I enjoy the most, has nothing to do with law whatsoever.
No.
But it's a point of commonality and it gets people connected with me.
Yes.
And it gets the discussions going.
Well, because it's also a window into who you are, right? Like that's the thing. And I think, before social media was about pictures, and now these videos are taking off because people are getting to know the person behind the content, right? Like these TikTok stars and these Instagram reel stars are, people act like they're their best friend and they're so invested in their life because, they're hearing them talk, they're seeing their reaction to things, whether it's controversial or not, it's authentically who they are. So when you're posting, I mean, you've had a few lives marketing wise. You've gone from Jordans to yoga to bodybuilding, and now you've kind of encompassed that as chosen. But you gave people a window into who you are. What do you like to do outside of law? And that connection, I think, is great. Whenever I meet new clients, I never talk about real estate with them. If I can find, if they're Filipino, that sense of camaraderie, it goes so much further than what you know about the market.
Let's think of the show we're on today. It's called Jonathan and Jonathan, but it's really chosen life.
Right.
And the whole idea being is I always say everybody's either living their chosen life
Right.
or wants to live their chosen life.
Right.
It's all about lifestyle at the end of the day. If you think about it, by the time you wake up and how you feel when you wake up, to the whole day, to the time you go to bed, what are your dreams? What makes you happy?
Right.
And are you living the authentic life you want?
Right.
And is this the life that you're going to build for yourself? And start picturing the life you really want,
Right.
and working towards that. And when I met you and as I watch your progression,
Mhm.
I'm saying to myself, this is a dude that loves his life,
Mhm.
builds a life he wants, and is living it.
Right. Well, it's funny. Like I actually was pretty in a really bad place when we first met, to be honest with you. But real estate was kind of that vessel that was getting me out of it. You know what I mean? Like it was fine. Like, I didn't finish post-secondary. I didn't have those opportunities, right? So you kind of have to carve out your way because especially when you're younger, you're always taught that like, you needed a university degree or college degree to do something, right?
Right.
And, that was really discouraging. I was in a really dark place. I was in a, really abusive relationship that consumed me, right? So, when you met me, ironically, it was like I was trying to carve out a new career and I was in the worst place of my life. But then instead of feeling sorry for myself, I had this like driving force just to hold on a little bit longer. And eventually that hope or maybe manifestation paid off, right? Because no one's going to help you except yourself. You can have all the handouts in the world. I could say to someone who just gets the real estate license, here's a million leads. But what you do with it is really it. And if you're going to stand in your own way, then you're your own problem.
It's ironic that we met when we met then, and you're saying that because I did not know this.
I didn't really put it on my forehead.
But and you hide it well. And I can tell you that I'm picturing now in my mind the years as they have progressed. If you had met me 3 to 4 years before that,
Yeah.
I was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
As rock bottom as it gets, mentally, physically, financially, everything. Everything was not going my way.
Mhm.
Dead end relationship, dead end as far as from career wise. I didn't see the light at all.
Yeah.
And that's why I took up yoga. Like I
Yeah.
talk about it a lot, and people, ask me like,
It's great. It's really great for you.
I figured out all my shit in yoga.
Yeah.
I knew I had to get physically fit. I knew I needed to fix my mind. And I thought, go to yoga every day.
Right.
Eventually, it'll come to you. It'll just hit you.
Well,
all of
because
a
the good
sudden.
thing with yoga, the point of it is just disconnect and then let your body take over, right? So you're thinking about the movements you're doing and you're fully investing in yourself in that way, right? But yeah, no, I wouldn't have. But I think
Are you a yogi as well?
I like yoga. I don't practice as much. There was one time, I guess, when I was coming out of my sunken place, yeah, that's kind of what helped me get into, it's just doing something for yourself and your mind and your body at the same time, right? You can never go wrong going to a yoga class.
I'm really happy to tell you that before we came to the taping today, we're taping this in the afternoon now, and in the morning, I went to my studio, my home studio.
Yeah.
They reopened a while ago, and I said, I still have a membership here? They're like, yep, you have a lifetime membership.
Oh.
I signed up. I'm going to be there at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
For the first time, I've gone to a yoga studio in like 2.5 years.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah.
It was tough. Like I was doing it at home, but it's different when you're sweating with the people and you're connecting with the earth and your environment. Your phone is away. There's no distractions. It's another planet. So I'm really excited to actually be letting go of it and coming back to my home base, because yoga is the be all end all as far as finding the life journey.
That,
for me,
and I think Tai Chi. I think those are the two best, exercises for your mind and body. I mean, people will argue, I like lifting and I like doing all that stuff, and that works for you. It does, but I think the purpose of it is solely that, and I love it.
When I was at I would say my peak as far as the blend of the lifestyle was when I was doing boxing and yoga. It was the yin yang. So you get the aggression out in boxing, get your curls in yoga, and as far as stretching it out and feeling limber, it's amazing. And now I'm more in the CrossFit realm, but I can tell my body's craving yoga. Like I'm getting injured all the time as far as I'm not loose body, and I'm getting older,
If your body's asking for it, you have to give it, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't know if like after lockdowns and all that stuff, I was like, I used to go to the gym, lift, and I was pretty self-disciplined when it came to that. I tried even using my condo gym, and John, I couldn't do anything. I'd sit there, do one set, sit on my phone, scroll through Instagram. Before I know it, 30 minutes is gone and I've done nothing. I just didn't have that motivation and drive to do anything for myself. So funny story, actually, I went to kickboxing, and the guy looked at me. He goes, "Oh, I can tell you're trained in Taekwondo." I'm actually a black belt in Taekwondo, believe it or not.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's new.
Mm-hmm. And, it really awoke in this like love I had for it. I actually went and registered. I haven't gone back, but I actually went to register at a Taekwondo gym again. Just the only thing with it I find a little weird. They're like, "Oh, it's a class for 12 and up." Like I don't really. And I remember when I was doing it, I don't want to fight kids.
Yes. Might be fun though.
Like sometimes, but probably not the kids I want actually.
Well, we're gonna bring somebody into this because I thought you were married. You're engaged.
Engaged, yeah.
So now I'm gonna ask you. I've never met your partner.
No, you haven't met. Well, virtually you did when we closed on our place.
No, but we've never been in person.
No, yeah.
So as far as in your pursuits, everything, it's personality wise. Mm-hmm. Why him? How do you guys connect? How did you guys come together?
It's funny. We're actually at the cottage this weekend with one of his buddies who's, trying to meet someone and all this stuff. And, a lot of people I know try to put a square in a circular peg hole, and you can't make those things work. We actually met 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And we never really dated. We actually met when I was with my crazy ex. Around the time actually we met. And
how come nobody ever says with my normal, sane, amazing ex? Why do they never say that?
Mine was legitimately crazy.
But usually if they were, then you still be with them. So
I was probably also crazy too.
The opinions Jonathan Orlando has of his ex has nothing to reflection on the chosen life or its subsidiaries. But go on.
I have a few exes I would not say are crazy. But anyways,
yes.
So we met then, and we had this instant connection. But he wasn't fully out yet. And I didn't just go through all of that to be put back in someone else's closet, right? So, I wasn't too keen on that. And then, he obviously started seeing someone else and got that out of his system. But, throughout all of those years, we've always been in contact. And you just, even when you try to quit each other, just couldn't. And, we finally decided, like, let's give it a go. And we've been inseparable ever since. I always just knew, though, that's the thing. Like, I feel like even though I dated other people at the time, I always knew it would come back to him, and there was no pressure of it. Like I always just knew. Obviously, we kick ourselves in the ass now, wishing we didn't waste that much time. But we're together now, and I always knew. And I just think if you have to force it or make excuses for another person, it's probably not the right person for you.
And you know what? Better today than 10 years from now.
But also, I'm different. I've grown up too, right? Like, and same with him. So, like, I think as much as it kills me, and we could have lived without some of the drama in our past. We had to go through those things to be who we are today, right?
So, tell me, how was the proposal? How did that work?
Well, the proposal was was cute. We were in Barbados actually.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I've never really been a big person of the Caribbean just because, we grew up going to the Philippines and I always thought I have that, right? And we were in Barbados and we stayed at the Crane. Actually, the ring is from a jewelry store down there. And I just walked by and I said, oh, that's really cool. And then I want to say well, I like to sleep in just for the record on vacation. I don't in Toronto, but when I'm on vacation, I'll sleep in all day. Because he's like, oh, why don't you want to go out and explore? Like, no, my vacation's sleeping. That's what I like to do. And so I guess I slept in. He ran out and got it. And we were just on the resort grounds and he popped the question right in front of the water. It was really nice.
When was that?
That was just February this year.
Oh, it's very recent. Is that the ring you're wearing right now?
Yes, it is.
That's it.
Emerald and diamonds.
I love green.
I do too.
Rolex, the boxes are green. There's a reason why.
Well, they're very regal. It's like Jags and stuff too, right?
It's money, it's power, it's energy, jade. It's all about the greens. I love it.
Well, my thing was at first I thought, oh, it'll be easy and I just want a band and just call it a day. But I realized maybe to have a little bit more fun with it. And how many guys, believe it or not, have said, I'm going to tell my girlfriend or my fiance when we get married, I want a ring like that too. It's kind of funny how it kind of opened doors of conversation with men who are straight, even being like, I like that idea. I never thought it could look like that. Because I think if you said you had a rock on your ring, they all think of like that, the dainty little thing. Right.
I have seen the caricature of the woman proposing to the man.
Right.
And she has the Rolex box and the look on his eyes.
Well, it's funny because
the watch is a proposal.
Well, I actually said to Jake, if I that I would have just get him a Rolex instead.
Yes.
But, I think symbolically, even though we know it means that, I think just the ring itself is just the traditional, nice, feel good kind of thing.
I can tell you that any woman that was planning to propose to me, if she went the watch route, because I love watches, she'll probably get a yes if I like the watch. So I'll learn to love her, but I will love the watch.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what comes first. Watches first, right?
Yes.
And any healthy relationship starts there.
Listen, it tells time. It does its job. It looks great.
But would you wear that watch every day?
Let's see the watch. We'll talk.
I don't think you could. Right?
I'm open to negotiation. If it's the right watch, I could.
Okay, fair enough.
But at the same token, you're wearing a watch as well. There's something about the watches, and everybody's got their love. The same way, traditionally when a woman gets the engagement ring and the bigger the rock, it's bigger than her head. She falls over wearing this thing. But it's that feeling of, I think I've seen enough proposals in my day that I think people many times said yes because of the rock and not the person.
Right, exactly. I don't think I could be that person when I'm not
I
that
hope
person.
not.
I love you, Jake, if you're watching this. But
hey, Jake.
No, I'm not that kind of person. I just think, love and connection is so much more important. I don't understand, I don't understand people who could do that. I'm not against it if that works for you, sure. But I just personally could not imagine. I remember on dates, I couldn't sit through a first date, much less force myself to like somebody just because there was some financial gain there. It's crazy.
I've been in situations, I've gone on dates where the person was worth, I don't know how many millions. And I said to myself, I'm sorry, no offense. I don't feel like I don't want to be a prostitute. Like, I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for love. I don't care how much money they have. I'd rather they be in debt and I have a connection to them. I can't do it for the money. Money can be had and come and go. But to have a life connection with somebody, that is like the hardest thing to achieve.
And that's something money can't buy, right? I mean, no, as cliche as that is.
As people think it can, it can't.
No, of course not.
Money can be fun, sure. It gives you security.
It's a perk, I would say. But it's not the be all and end all.
Right. Now, wedding date, has it been set?
No.
Out?
I feel like when everyone asks me that, we've talked about it.
Yes.
Jake likes to change his mind a million times for everything anyways. But it's just, it's funny. I always thought this is what I wanted when I got engaged. We'd go right away. But now that we're engaged, we own a place together. We have 2 cars. We have 2 dogs together. I feel like we're already settled into married life as is. So, and I'm really happy with our life. I would love to do something, but I think it's going to be just more of a celebration than an actual formal wedding. But when and where that is, I don't. I'm officiating a wedding in a few weeks.
You're a wedding? I did not know that.
I'm not ordained in Canada. It's impossible. What you see is online is just solely American. I went on ordainedminister.com and got my license, but so you either need someone to witness it or they have to just get their license beforehand.
So
And
where are you officiating the wedding at?
it's in Vaughan. It's out of Holland Vaughan, but
Vaughan, Ontario, right?
Vaughan, Ontario.
Okay.
It's two of my best friends that I actually set up like 7 years ago.
Amazing.
And yeah, so I'm in both the bachelor. I am in the bachelorette and the bachelor party. So that's been exhausting. But to be frank with you, I've actually started like I thought I was gonna have this freaking huge obnoxious wedding party and everything. But to be frank with you, I'm actually kind of like disappointed in a lot of people. Like I told my maid of honor, like we're doing a full credit check when we ask people this time because people overextend their abilities to be a part of it, and either they can't afford it, don't have the time, which is totally fair. But just say it up front, right? Because people have kids, people have houses, people have a lot of things that they take into consideration, right? But I think it's yeah, no, I'm excited to officiate. So, but I've learned through this process what I do and do not want, and I'm still learning. So I'm happy to keep learning from other people's weddings, and take notes so I can make ours the best they possibly can be.
If I had Jake sitting beside you right now,
Yes,
and looking at Jonathan within himself, being in the relationship with him as you guys grow together,
right.
how much of yourself do you feel like you get to hold on to? Like, are you are you truly Jonathan, or is this Jonathan blending into another life? Like, are you keeping you? Yeah. How do you?
I actually feel like I've never been more myself because of this relationship. I don't like not to get into the business. I know we're gonna hold off to the business talk till later, but this is a thing. Like I had a full-time job up until like under 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and he told me he was the one who gave me that stability to go and chase after it full time.
Right.
Right. So he's been extremely supportive, and he lets me be silly because I have the sense of humor of a 5-year-old and maturity level of a 5-year-old
On 10 Red Bulls.
on 10 Red Bulls,
Yes.
maybe 12. And he embraces it rather than makes me hide it. Like I do dumb stuff all the time, and I don't know why. I just life's too short to be serious all the time, and I'm so happy that I'm with someone that embraces and supports me like that.
Imagine your life if you were going, nothing wrong with it, going to the Gap, buying chinos, buying a light blue dress shirt,
Right.
taking your hair, parting it, and
Mhm.
trying to live a non-authentic life, trying to, the picturesque, standard vanilla
Right.
look, not embracing your individuality,
Mhm.
not having the relationship you have today. Where would you think you'd be career-wise if you were not in your personal place?
Well, like I said, I mean, I had a lot of dead end jobs. I was working while trying to get my real estate career going. I just think I would have probably been in one of the same of those positions, not really having a great real estate career by any means necessary. Like I've always wanted it, right? But you always have that fear of failure, and like I was dropped on my ass at a young age, so I didn't have this financial support from anybody, right?
Mhm.
So I had to err on the side of caution constantly because that's all I had, right? So I think I would probably be trying to climb a BS corporate ladder that I don't want to be on in the rat race. I was, my last job, I was working in marketing at a property management firm. And, it was great, but it wasn't what I wanted to be, but it was good. You know what I mean? That would be me. I would just be shrugging my shoulders right now saying, yeah, it's fine.
I tell people all the time, personal, professional go hand in hand.
They do 100%.
And they're so similar. Like you go to a job interview, it's not much different than you go on a first date. It's the same principles.
It is. I think they want to see how you fit in more so than what you can, like what you bring to the table is who you are, right?
Yep.
The skill set's a dime a dozen, but you're the one that is like really what they're looking at.
I could tell you any job interview I've gone on, I can get the job. I
Yeah,
go
me
in
too.
there.
I used to love. I wish interviewing was a professional job. I would totally do it for people. Like, here's their resume. Let me tell you about them.
I'll tell you my secret formula, which anybody can use right now. Take notes. I think this is exactly how you get a job. Very simple.
Right.
Use the same principles when going on a date if you
Mhm.
want to be in a relationship.
Right.
You come to the person. I've gone through your social media. I've gone through LinkedIn, whatever. I know you through people.
Right.
This is who you are. This is what you're about. Same thing in a job interview.
Right.
This is your company. This is what you guys do. This is what you're about.
Right.
Now, here's who I am. Here's my skill sets. Here's what I do. Now, here's why we're going to work well together.
Right.
Because I want to join you because I will be good at this. We will grow together this way.
Mhm.
Bring me on. Don't even pay me for a week. Let me just show you what I'm about.
Right.
I'm hungry. This is a match made for us. let's do it. So like it's that triple connection
Well,
part.
it's funny you say that, and I think that's the problem right now. Is a lot of people expect they don't want to show, right? So I think it's like there's so much entitlement that goes around, even in the real estate
Amen.
game, dude. Like I have had so many people and friends, even which will get their real estate license, and then I don't know they reach out to me, and I don't know what the hell they want me to do for them. Like I worked my ass off to get where I am. I'm not just going to give it away. I wouldn't even do that for family, not because I'm selfish. But first of all, my book of business is suffice enough for me, so I'm not going to be passing it around, right? But also because, like I said, people are like, "Oh, you look like this." Yes, because I knew how to curate my life to look like that, right? And I mean, even if it wasn't like you play up things, but fake it till you make it. It's true. It's true. Faking it till you make it really works because you're almost manifesting it in a lot of ways when you do that.
You're faking it in the sense that you have to give an impression when the experience and the knowledge is not there. You're acquiring it. But what I will say this, Jonathan, let's take away any labels, lifestyles, appearances, what people think you are, who you are. You break you down, you break me down. Why I connected with you initially when you were starting off, I'm already been in the game for like 15 years, but we were the same because I knew you were a hard worker.
Right.
You gave a damn. I've worked with you on many, many deals. We've talked about residential realm, commercial realm. You brought stuff, I brought stuff. We talked about things. And one thing is when we are connecting on a business level, we're no longer Jonathan and Jonathan. It's now business. And you may have faked it till you made it, but you know your stuff. And you did that through hard work and you
exactly. And that's
it.
the only way you learn. I mean, you got to throw yourself in there. You can't be scared to fail. I think that's it. Those are the best lessons. And that's not just real estate exclusive. That's in life. Sometimes I encourage people to go and screw up because that is how you learn. It's not going to be a textbook thing. Like I don't remember anything I learned in the AREA courses, but I remember the lessons I learned by screwing up. I remember the frickin' fridge because I didn't put buying a client a new fridge because I didn't put the shadow clause in there like I usually do. So now you look twice. But you know what? Those are the things you learn from. So I'd always tell people, go screw up out there because that's how you learn. You learn how to talk to people. You learn, shit, I wish I wasn't so open with this client and I wish I took it back. Like it's not just the business, but how to interact and how to convey yourself too. But yeah, it's hard work in that sense too. And I just think people want a free pass all the time.
I tell my lawyers all the time in my firm, but this will pass, I think, to any possible profession. Like we're talking today about personal, we're talking about professional. We're talking about professional at the end, whatever you do for a living, whatever it be, if it's law, if you're a realtor, an accountant, whatever it be. Remember one thing at the end of the day is you're not in the business to close deals.
No.
You're not in the business to get things done. You are in the relationship business.
Exactly.
Period. People like you. They want to relate to you. Business will always come. You've noticed that?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I did no marketing for the longest time. It was 100% referral based, right? And that's just a testament of who I am as a person. Listen, you can find any realtor. You know this better than anyone. A lot of realtors can do the job. A lot of them don't, and they're not that great. But I'm saying that the process to be good, to write a deal, to find a place is that it's the connection you make with someone to understand that it's what a personal life change for them. Like maybe they need a new neighborhood, but you need to really find out the fundamental core of what's driving them, right? And I think that's what makes a good realtor. It's and any job, right? But it's the people business, keeping up with them, inviting them out for dinner, inviting them to your birthday, just not making it so business, right? Because I mean, listen, I have clients that are solely business, right? And I have the ones I've really come to love and are my friends now too, right? But it's authentic, right?
When did the light bulb go on over your head that you said to yourself, I have now made it in real estate. I'm actually good at this. Wow. I've reached, not that you're not at the end of the road, don't get me wrong, but when did you realize to yourself, I'm in a good spot? This is really taking to me.
Okay, so the deal didn't pan out, but I wrote an $80 million offer.
It was one that was not one like a fake one that you just wrote to yourself.
No, I didn't just write to myself.
It was potentially
put your name on it. Yeah, no, it was a real one. Yeah.
Okay, and how well were you sleeping those nights during that period?
You know what? With those big deals, I don't even care about them because I just you throw it. Those are those kind of things they're gonna go wrong. There's the 10 you do, one's gonna go through, right? But when I looked at it, and I was like, hey, when you first start, even doing 800,000 was cheap, but writing an $80 million offer, that was even it's just like the fact I'm here, I have the access to these kind of things and these people who can purchase it. That was just this whole moment. Because when I started at Blue Elephant, I was nothing, right? I $80 million is probably more than if you multiply everything I've done since I've started, right? But I think it was just having the opportunity and access that I can have do these things was that like hallelujah moment for me. And people come to me for help and stuff like that. But I remember writing that freaking $80 million deal, thinking, holy crap, if Jonathan from 7 years saw this, even if Jonathan from 2 years ago saw this, would shit his pants.
Yeah. And would you say after that it was never the same? Like it was now at another level?
It's never the same. Like I obviously don't turn out I don't really do success to my client, but it's I feel really valued in the game, like my brokerage and stuff. Like I definitely have a lot more recognition. Whereas Blue Elephant, I was definitely in the background, just treading above water. But it was just the personal way I inspired myself, I guess, to see that like everything I held on to for and worked towards paid off. Like that was pretty freaking cool.
I know for myself, when I saw you in the commercial realm,
Yeah,
and the way you spoke about commercial, and you were going outside of normal barriers of resale condos, etc., looking at the greater scope of real estate, that's when I knew you were hitting new plateaus. And I was really happy for you. I was proud of you, and that was amazing to see.
Well, it's funny. Like I worked at Tridel before, and I really loved. First of all,
that was for like a couple of years there, right?
That was actually around the time I was at Blue Elephant, and I loved working there. And because I really they're great. I will say that they are honestly. I understand why the reputation is the way it is. I'm glad I got to learn the right way of doing things, right? But I always wanted to marry the land acquisition part of it and real estate for me because I'm so passionate about it. And I learned, like I said, like there's a lot of money to be made, but so I've now to see that actually happening for me is really cool.
So let me ask you this. There's a few questions that come to my mind.
Sure.
One of the first and foremost, if you could go right now and speak to Jonathan from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You could pull up Johnny Orlando from 15 years ago and you sat down with him and you nurture him and tell him everything's going to be okay, buddy. Don't worry about it. But what would you most give advice to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
Just stick to your guns and just keep going. Because you know what? Your life was a little unkind and it's going to be for the next decade. But, you have to help yourself at the end of the day. And I think I wasted a lot of time back then looking up to people to help me and I was just a victim of my own circumstances. It's just keep going. No one's gonna get you out of the water. You're the only one who can, right? Not to say I wasn't supportive. I mean, I wasn't like homeless or anything, but I was, I really realized the power of myself in the last 10 years, right? So I would tell them just keep going. And I wish I'd actually listened to my instinct more than I did then.
Would you say your own mind held you back more than anything else?
Of course.
Where you're at?
Of course. Obviously I've had my own adversities like we've discussed earlier when it comes to race or when it comes to sexuality, and once I shed those things, there's really no excuse. And I wish I just knew that before then.
So how did you go about unlocking your mind? How did you get rid of those barriers?
Travel. I swear, I traveled so much. I traveled alone by myself, and you get to see how things are differently, and you get a different appreciation for your life here, right? I get so annoyed when people are like, "Oh, life's better back home." This, and that. Like, yeah, the romanticization of it is, but there's a reason your parents immigrated here. Drives me. I was that person. I moved back to the Philippines, but I think when I did that, I had that clarity and that closure of how actually lucky I am here, and if I can't make this work here, then it's not going to work anywhere.
I love that. And I've told people, look, sometimes you have to change the house you live in, sometimes the city, the job, travel. Maybe you have to break out of the friendship group that is holding you back, whatever it is, but mix it up a little bit, but find a way to open your mind. I can tell you, I had my mix of traveling, but it was that travel every day to the yoga studio when I started going to a Buddhist temple, started being out there. The place where I found, everybody again is different. So I say this very respectfully.
No, and same with me. I wasn't saying there's other ways.
For sure. But like I've known also people on the other, it's good that travel worked for you, but sometimes what I found, people go to travel, they're trying to escape their reality.
Well, there's definitely that side of it for sure.
But it's one thing when you go to travel and you unlock your mind, But if you keep that same mindset, all you'll do is find that same mindset in a different country, essentially.
True, but I think when you travel, you're already pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, right? So I think inevitably, especially if you do it alone, like I did a lot of solo travel. So I think, I didn't have my friends or family to rely on. You have to go and talk to people if you want to find something. You know what I mean? You're not on your own. Sorry, you're not with the people that make you comfortable. So in that regard, definitely does push you to change, right? Because you are inevitably going to be surrounded by different people and have different conversations. So I think at solo travel, okay, fine. Yeah, I'm not saying don't go to like Mexico and go to all-inclusive resort. I don't think that's
there's no answers to be found at the Ryu.
Well, I mean, probably
maybe
not.
Maybe
the wrong answers.
But on that token as well, for us as we're growing up as professionals on our personal levels, there's the younger generation, the me generation, the one that wants it right now, but they're just as lost always, as we were. They have more access, obviously, to the internet and, all the social media answers, which are good and bad. We talked about off camera, about Reddit, Instagram, TikTok. Good points, but can also be very negative as well if you get sucked down that black hole, as you called it.
But, like I said, I think extreme rightism and extreme leftism is a problem, right? Like I think sometimes there's too much of an agenda pushed on those things, and it doesn't allow people to actually formulate their own opinion. Yes, I love this PC, accept everybody mindset that we're in right now. But I feel like a lot of it isn't earned in people's minds because they went out and experienced these things to have this concluded thought. It's more so because I saw this on TikTok, I saw this on Instagram, so this must be the right answer. So even though I agree with a lot of the mentality, I don't know if it's necessarily, formulated from experience versus like been told to, to feel this way.
And I think you're a shining example, Jonathan, on so many levels because, you could say as a male, but you could say as a gay male, you could say as mixed race, there's a lot of those labels, but at the end of the day, when you cut all them down, it's Jonathan.
Right.
Let's take out all the skin color and orientation. It's there. Somebody watching this right now and not sure of their sexuality, not sure of their orientation, what they like, what they're attracted to, who they are. If they're watching this and you wanted to feed them and tell them, words of inspiration, where would you begin as a youngster now?
You don't need to know. I think that's the point. You don't need to know. And it's no one else's business. I thought it, like, this is the thing, like, okay, this is a really weird point. I'm just going to bring it up. Like, I was talking to my friends about this. Like, especially with sexuality, it's so different for a man and a woman, right? You hear all these stories about these girl on girl actions and no one bats an eye at it. But if a guy even kisses another guy, it's like, oh, he's gay forever. So, I think as society, we need to do better to not have these labels because, I'm not living for a place. I just think we need to be at a place where no one needs to come out. Like coming out, I think is the most stupidest thing. You don't have to say to your parents, oh, mom, dad, I like girls. That's not equality to me if we have to do that, right?
And that's where I kind of get offended in a way when somebody accomplished something and they said, look at this gay male produced this and this black woman produced that. Why do we have to put these labels on? They are a person with education and lifestyle. They're not that label. They are a human being at their core.
I agree with that because I think, we're not definitely equal in that because they're not going to say, look at this white Jewish lawyers podcast, right? They won't.
Which I get it all the time. Don't get me wrong. No. And it's funny because someone will just bring it out of the blue and they'll say, so as a Jew, what do you think about this?
Right.
I'm like, what? I could be Christian. What's the difference?
That's the thing, right? Yeah. But I there's two things with it. Like, obviously, it's really important to give visibility to the minority spaces when they do have their successes. But when I think it's consistently dragged on, I can see how the message now becomes exhausted, right? Because the thing is, it's like representation is so important in the sense where, like, Crazy Rich Asians was a revelation for the Asian community because they weren't being hypersexualized or anything like that, right? It was a glamorized look into the actual Asian culture, right? So I do think it does have it, but I totally agree with you. The narrative of constantly saying it, I think, takes away from it, but doesn't mean it shouldn't be celebrated. It's such a double-edged sword. It's weird.
Think about gossip right now and think about celebrities.
Yeah.
So-and-so is dating somebody. Right. Oh, I need to know about this. Wait a minute. They just broke up. Oh, no. Now they're in a same-sex relationship. Oh, wow. Now they're straight again. Oh, boy. Yeah. Now, and I feel like, I don't know how much of it is even authentic anymore. It's just to get those reactions, and it's taking away from the core messages.
Well, that's, okay, like, please don't cancel me. But it's like the Demi Lovato thing, right? When she went from she, her to they, them, and now she's back to she, her. I totally agree with you. You know, you're not a role model in the sense of like you're in the trenches. Like you're this rich, successful singer, either however you identify, right? So are you really in the trenches with the little people who are actually struggling with that? Or are you, are you taking away from the cause? Because I see so many people who want to be allies or are allies, I should say, so exhausted from this whiplash of messaging that like it's like, well, where do I fit in on this? Right. And I totally get that frustration.
I would say if we sat here in the land of oblivious and we didn't think that there were publicists out there that are plotting these courses for
Right.
people just to get them into papers and magazines, we'd be delusional beyond.
100%.
It's there because it works. It does work at the end of the day.
Proof is in the pudding. Like,
yes, but I love what you just said from before, which is when I think about all the people I know in my life that have come out or are struggling to come out, the one thing they're very obsessed with is the label.
Yeah.
What am I? And they feel this pressure to be something. I love the idea of what you're saying. Why do you have to be anything? Just be you and don't even worry about the label.
I'm not a gay. I'm just an times. That's what I always say. Because like people, when they try to disrespect you, that there's like these adversities you overcome, and then all of a sudden, like being gay becomes the preference of the insult, right?
Yeah.
No, if I'm being a jerk, I'm just a jerk. Like I hate when that's weaponized.
And that's where I'd be saying also, and this is not me being a jerk, but saying from a client perspective and everything else, you're not a niche. Okay, this is Jonathan Orlando. This is a realtor to gay people. This is Jonathan Orlando, realtor, period.
Well,
and it's funny how people can all of a sudden pigeonhole the same way. I've got it with Judaism as well.
Yeah.
You are a professional.
That's it.
You work with everybody.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. But have you ever gotten that? People said, do you work with straight people? Sadly,
no. I actually don't have very many gay friends, if not any, to be honest with you. But I think it kind of ties back to that same argument. Like, I don't think who I choose to, be friends with has anything to do with who I choose to share my bed with. And I've been called an internal homophobe before by the gay community, which I'm not. It's just like or the worst part I think of that argument is the other side of it when they call my friends gay because they're my friends. And I feel like, this is the equality we've been fighting for. And now these pillars of the allyship that we've been wanting, you're going to turn around and call them gay. I just don't understand that. So I obviously have my own misgivings about where I fit in the gay community and stuff like that. But, I just don't. And I'm sure there are a lot of my partners like looks at things like me. And I know there's others like me in that sense. But, I just like, I don't know how to explain it other than the fact that like, I don't think that who I share my bed with is any more who I am than where my parents are from. I'm just Jonathan at the end of the day, right? Like I always say this, I am not your gay best friend, Jonathan. I am your best friend, Jonathan, who is gay. But because there's a big difference. A lot of people, it's a personality for them to be the gay best friend.
I can tell you that when I met you and as we became friends, I don't know if you've heard this one before, but a lot of the people that you're with, as you get a reaction, it's because they're a mirror to the other person.
Right.
The way you talk and everything else, I'm almost looking at myself and I'm almost assessing myself. Right. When I see you, I see the best Jonathan I want to be. I want that one with the nice trim beard and the hair and outgoing and confident and dresses well. And I said to myself, I like his energy. He's positive. I feel good about myself when I'm around him. Right. And he's a lot of attributes that I wish in myself. Right. And that's the best feeling when you surround yourself with somebody who gives you good energy. You walk away feeling good about yourself and you see the better you. So that's a gift you give to others, man. So thank you.
I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say.
Fact, man. I can tell you since we've been hanging out, I've definitely upped my game in a lot of ways.
Well, so I appreciate that.
Now, as we're summing it up today, we talked about as far as helping somebody figure out their orientation. It's also, we're talking about how personal professional is the same way. The young realtor coming up and about, and realtors coming into the game, and I was teaching with Aria before we went over to Humber.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of my students were ESL, coming from different countries. This was second careers, third careers, all sorts of barriers. It's a really hard job market to crack into. I always say realtors have the number one hardest job. They have to create something from nothing.
Right. Literally,
there's nothing.
You have to get someone to trust you with the biggest asset in their life or purchase of their life. And if you have nothing to back you on it, why would they choose you? No matter how close you are.
think about it. You're not working in sales or marketing with Coca-Cola. You're not working in office. We're like, Jonathan, here's your paycheck every 2 weeks. Here's your benefits, blah, blah. You are now starting up this thing. Jonathan Orlando, Forest Hill, great. Here's my business cards. You have to literally go out there and eat what you kill. There's nothing out there from a business perspective, and you have to find it from nothing. And for a lot of people, that's the scariest thing on the planet. It's no different than trying to be on the phone and telemarket people to go buy windows.
Right, exactly.
It's not that far off at the end of the day.
No.
And from your end of it, saying that, you started off not necessarily from a marketing perspective. I know you did against sales from your previous careers, but from a marketing, if somebody's starting off now, they're going through the courses, they want to be licensed as a realtor, wherever they are in the world right now.
Yeah.
Where do you begin? Like, how do you get that footing in your estimation?
Don't quit your day job. That's my biggest advice to everyone. You know how many times people, I don't know why they get their real estate license and they turn the come in, we're open sign, and then no one comes and they're like, what the hell? I have my real estate license. It's not enough, but it's also not sustainable. Like, it's not. I don't know how people do it, right? Like, I really don't. But my biggest advice is don't. And, when you have a good job at a good company, that right there's your network. Yeah. That's where you start, right? You get paid to network. You have access to tools. I know this is bad, but I don't work there anymore. But I would use a lot of the resources from my old companies to help me build mine, right? Of course. So why would that's my biggest advice. Don't quit your day job. Even if you're bartending, that's another great place to start, right?
I can tell you, I've sat with professionals as realtors, mortgage brokers, accountants, and they're hanging their hat. They're starting a new operation, and they're trying to advertise online. They're trying to put up signage. They want to advertise on the radio. I tell them first and foremost, bring me your phone. I want you to go into your contacts, go right to the bottom.
Right.
How many contacts are in there?
Right.
And they'll tell me 1,000, 2,000, whatever there is. Right. I'm like, you have a captive audience here.
Right there. Yeah.
Does every 1,000 or 2,000 people on your list know what you do for a living and you can help them? If the answer is no.
Yeah.
You got some work to do.
But also, even if you get 5 of those 1,000 people to use you, right? That is so much more impactful than trying to broadcast to 1 million people and sell yourself to people who have no idea who the hell you are, right? When the personal connection is the gateway to it for sure.
Let's say we talk about the pyramid scheme. So let's say you have 1,000 contacts.
I joined one by accident. I didn't know what I was doing.
I was never part of one. I was just joking.
It was legal services too.
But let's say it was a legal pyramid scheme in the sense like this. You've gone through your 1,000 contacts.
Right.
5 people agreed to work with you to buy or sell a home.
Right.
From those 5 people, in my estimation, you now have a marketing team of 5 people.
Exactly.
And it amazes me. So, Johnny, you know how many times I've closed a transaction with somebody?
Right.
They come to me 2 or 3, 5 years later to do another transaction, but they're using a different realtor. I said, hold on a minute here. What happened to the other realtor? Right. Oh, I'm buying in a different area. I didn't think they do that. Right. I said, did you ask them?
Yeah.
And they said, no, I didn't even think of it. If you have a captive audience, you have somebody who wants to hand you their money and wants to work with you, why wouldn't you make sure that they know going forward, I'm your person, make sure and stay connected with them? It blows my mind.
Well, that's the thing. And sometimes it's just as little as a text message. Hey, how's it going? How's the kids? How's the house working out for you? Like, the fact that it's so barbaric to me that you would just let that opportunity go. And the opportunity, like, this is not like outreach where you have to meet new people. Yeah. This is like, I tested, tried and true, love your services, and you're just sending flowers here or there, Christmas card, whatever the case is. But that's not, that like you're right. It's ridiculous.
But when it goes well, all of a sudden you're acting for their brother, their sister, their neighbor, the job. Like, I knew somebody who had a job keeping like you said, keep your day job. For some people, they do it. Some like to go full time if they can. But again, if you have a partner that can help support you, that depends on your life circumstance.
Yeah.
But they keep working. All of a sudden, they're at this giant company. All the people at the company are using them to buy houses.
Right.
Wow. Because guess what? You're in the lunchroom with them. I don't know how much the boss loves that. But hey, if you can pull it off, go for it.
If you work a 9 to 5, I'm willing to say that you spend more time with them in your waking life than you do with your own family. So, I mean, if that much face time you can't build a connection to get at least one client out of it, you're doing something wrong.
So things to think about as we're going forward. Yeah. Now, Johnny going forward, Mr. Jonathan Orlando, not related to Tony Orlando, unfortunately.
Or Johnny Orlando.
No tie, yellow ribbon around.
But if any of the rich Orlandos would like to adopt me, I'm available.
I'll join too. I can be a distant cousin. I know people have told me before when they've seen us together that we're almost like we could pass as cousins.
For sure.
Awesome. And had the right spelling of Jonathan.
Yeah, but I think that was the dead giveaway of that.
So aside from the future marriage, looking now into the future, where's Jonathan Orlando in life? Where are you headed? And how can people reach you, please?
Where's Jonathan Orlando headed? Okay, well, I don't know. It's a good question, but I'm excited to figure it out. I feel like every day, like I unlock something new, and I'm liking the trajectory I'm on right now. So hopefully onto bigger, better things in real estate. I'd like to personally start flipping or developing myself, to be honest with you. Now that I have all these resources, I'd like to, hone in on that. People can reach me at www.jonathanorlando.com, at Jonathan Orlando Real Estate on Instagram, at Jonathan Orlando is my personal one. And yeah, I mean, I'm always there, always available. So I would love to hear from anybody.
Thank you, man, for joining us today.
Yeah.
For sharing wisdom on life, style, everything that it encompasses. You're putting positive energy out into the universe.
Thank you.
And we thank you that. I thank you personally for the friendship.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
And excited for your future, where it goes. And you know what? Be interesting to come once the wedding date is set.
You'll be the first to get second to get an invite, since I was the second on this couch. So you'll be second to get an invite.
Once you come back from the honeymoon,
yes,
I would like you and Jake to be coming on board here. I want to hear all about the wedding, all about the honeymoon. Let's share it with our viewers. And which is also telling you, chop, chop, it's time to get married. So
all right, sounds good.
Wonderful.
Thanks, John.
So we're going to sign off, and we always do the flex.
Okay.
And we say, keep living the chosen life.
Keep living the chosen life.